Hello friends and welcome to a new art video. Today I'm going to show you how I've colored this drawing with Copic markers step by step. So as for the reference photo, I'll be using the one on the screen I took in Milano, which is a nice city with a very nice park that has also a little castle. So I wanted to recreate the view. And as for the Copic markers, I'll be using both Copic Ciao and Copic sketch markers. The Copic Ciao costs a little bit less, but anyway, this is an expensive tool. I've talked about it in a video where I did a comparison between Copics and ALCOHOL, and you can check it out if you want to see more details about the price and the quality and so on. But anyway, since I have a few Copic markers, I wanted to do a tutorial in the step-by-step of my creating process and coloring process with them. Also, I'll be using this plastic board that I'll put underneath the paper so that the colors won't transfer on the other page. Unfortunately, with alcohol markers in general, it's very easy to have this bleed through and to have a mess on the paper. It doesn't matter the thickness of the paper. In this case, I have a pretty good thickness, but anyway, put a paper underneath, or if you have this plastic board, put it underneath and don't forget it. So for the sky, I'll be using these three colors in particular, which is a very light blue, B30s, and then a darker blue, which is a B32. I would have preferred to use like a B20 or something like that because this is too dark, but this is what I have. And then I'm going to use a color for the branches, but I'll show you it later. So I want to show you how I blend two Copic markers, like two colors. And in this case, I want to start with a dark blue and then have like a lighter blue on the bottom. So first, I'll use the light color and cover everything. So let me show you. So at the very beginning, the colors are wet, and then when the alcohol evaporates, they will basically dry. And while they're wet, you can get some nice blurring effect that I'll show you here on this part of the drawing. Yeah, this is definitely drying out, so it's running out of ink, and I should buy some ink or just buy another Copic, but yeah, let's use what I have. So now I'm going to use the dark color and paint on top. I want to do like a sort of diagonal, a darker part in here. I'm very light and try to do this sort of brush strokes, which are darker at the beginning and lighter at the end. So yeah, this way. Yeah, I think it can work. Now I go on top with the lighter color and try to blend, especially the edges. So I really press on the edges, and as you can see, the edges are blending, and this is because of the alcohol, basically. In fact, the alcohol markers are really similar to watercolors in terms of finish, like how they render on paper, because they have the alcohol that behaves like water, and you can create also splotches like with watercolors. I try to go here because the color is not very uniform. I can go back with some dark color here if I want to, since the color is still wet. Yeah, you can create some nice effects. Basically, you can go on forever because, yeah, you can add a lot of layers. The colors are not so opaque. And I think this is the reason why Copics are so famous. So, since here the color is still wet, I'm going on top with this ash rose to create some branches. As you can see, you can get some blurring effect because of the ink still being wet. So I want to work fast on this, otherwise I will lose that kind of effect. I will add more branches with the color pencil later, but now I try to focus just on Copics. Also, I'm working from first on the background, and then I'll be working on the foreground, so I'll be covering some of these marks. Okay, I could add branches forever, but I have to stop here. So let's go to the castle. I can't work on the sky anymore because I have the branches, so I have to stop here, even if maybe the blending here is not very good. But this is also because my lighter color was running out of ink, so I had to like press more than usual. Otherwise, if you have a full ink marker, this will go even better. So for the castle, I'm planning to use like 3 colors. Basically, I'll be using 2 reds, like R20, which is blush, and R11, which is pale cherry pink, and then just a touch of yellow. This is the pale yellow. And yeah, I have to avoid like a few spots where there's the white part, but let's go in with the lighter one, which is R11. So as you can see, this marker has more color inside and it's easier to press and to get an even color. And while the color is wet, you can also go on top with the same color, and you can create these nice volumes. Or you can go with another color on top and yeah, get some variation. Like for example, I get the R20 and I can go here and make it even more reddish. As you can see, they blend very well together. They're very smooth. So now that the color is dry, I'll use the shadow color, which is this pale lavender. I really love the pale colors from Copics. You can use them a lot in different ways because you can layer them in, and you can like add shadows, very subtle shadows. So I really love all the pale colors from them. Also, I can use the sky color for this subtle shadow. I can also go on top with this one. So I can adjust the colors later if I want to, but now I can go on with the greens, and when all the colors will be layered down, I can see if I have to adjust the contrast. So let's go with the greens, and first of all I'll be starting with this pale yellow, which is the lighter color, and then light green, and so on. So let's put down the lights first. I try not to touch this part because it would be some, yeah, it creates some splotches in here. So I try to stay within the lines. Now I'll be using the only green I have, basically, and this is Mignonette YG11. I usually don't buy greens, and this piece is almost about greens, so I have to work with what I have. And I'll be using this like around the yellows, just also trying to blend it in. Maybe with a pop of red, like this one. And then let's go add some more color in here. As you can see, there are some splotches in here, which it's very cool because they act like watercolors for real. So I really love this effect. But if you hate it, yeah, I don't know what you can do about it. And yeah, I keep going with the green. I cover everything, and then I go with a darker blue. Also, if I want to, I can add some red because there's some redness in this tree here. So I can add like a pinch of red. Also, it reminds the castle, so it's nice to see some variation. Okay, so now I can go here at on this first brush, and I think I'll add a very dark green. So I think I'll be using this BG72, which is Ice Ocean. So this leans towards blue, but yeah, this is the darkest thing I have. So of course it dries out because all these colors are a bit old. I bought them like a couple of years ago, and even if you don't use them so much, they tend to dry out. So I suggest you to buy these Copic markers only if you plan to use them right away, basically. I try to let out some of the yellow, even if it's basically covered, and go like this way. So I can also add some variation with the blue, and I'll be using the same dark blue as I've used for the sky, which has also more ink, so it works better. And I just go in while the color is wet, again for the same reason, because it will blend better, it will create nice effects, and yeah, it's the best way to use Copics basically. You can go again with the darker green and create some brush strokes, some texture. Yeah. So now you can see that there's a very big difference between this very dark shade and the rest of the greens, which are very light. And so I have to balance this and add like a dark shadow. So this is what I'll be doing now. So I'll take B32, which was the color for the sky, the darkest color, and I'll go in for the shadow. Here it's very, very dark, so I have to like go in with the dark blue, and then I'll go back with some dark green and so on. Also here is not so dark, so I stay lighter. I try to do random strokes basically. I'm not very precise, but just have fun because it's a sketchbook, so this is the goal now. And yeah, I'll take the ice ocean and try to add some marks. Okay, so now I'll move to this darker tree here and try to do like this wide brush strokes. There's no a right or a wrong way to basically color or draw trees. So because they have so many shapes and textures, so basically I have to go with my gut and draw whatever stroke. Also, sorry for the noises my neighbor is doing. I think he's cutting the grass. But yeah, this is the season. Also, I can go back with some colors again if I want to enhance some of the lights or of the reds. You can do as many layers you want with these Copics, because they will add on top and create darker shades. Here I can go again with the dark blue, and yeah, I hope to darken even more this area because it's the darkest in the photo. Also, I can go back with a color pencil, of course, because if you don't have like a lot of Copic shades, you can enhance this with color pencils, which I'll be doing later. And this needs a bit more dark in here. And also a bit here. And it has like this very long and of course now the castle would need some contrast, especially when it comes to shadow. So I'm thinking of using the dark blue and just going on top on some of the shadows. And then I can go again on top with the color I've used initially for the shadow and smudge a bit. Also, I can use the same color to go on top of the shadow because it would add on and it would darken. So yeah, I should have probably done this. And I'll use just a bit of yellow in here of the very beginning, and yeah, I think also a bit of red in here. Also here I had to put some green for the grass. So that's basically it with the Copic markers. I don't want to overwhelm this painting too much because this is just a study, and I just want to add a few details with color pencils, and I'll be speeding up the video because this is not the main topic of the video, and I'll come back with the final thoughts. So guys, this is the final result and I think I'm pretty happy with it. Also, I can take off the paper underneath because yeah, it's finished, and this is the result. On the other side of the page, as you can see, the Copic markers show through even if the paper is thick. And yeah, this doesn't bother me too much. In this case, for this drawing, I was using, I think, ALCOHOL markers, and again, they show on the other side. Yeah, you can't do pretty much anything about this. And when it comes to the rendering, I think that Copic markers are a really nice option to watercolors. Of course, they are way too expensive, but yeah, you can have a couple of these and bring them with you everywhere and just layer a few colors to get that nice effect and transparency that is the feature of the watercolors usually. But I don't know how they basically work, how the ink works, because you can get pretty nice textures and splotches, and yeah, this transparency of the watercolor, as you can see here, you can still see the yellow and the light green showing through, and every time you add like a light color to a darker one, you get like a nice splotch, and it's a nice texture. Yeah, the colors look very nice. They are very vivid, although I've been using especially pale colors because this is what I buy the most. And yeah, I think of course the color pencils added some extra texture and detail, but I was still happy with the painting, even if at the beginning when I only used Copic markers. So yeah, I hope that you could find some useful tips inside of this video, especially about alcohol markers, since this was the topic. And I hope to see you in the next video. Thank you for watching again, and I wish you a great weekend. Bye!